Guys, what's up? I was only going to make one video. I was only going to make one video, but someone, like every now and then, I get stupid comments. I get really stupid comments, like people asking me, "Yo, can I wear a hat inside the seafood plant?" Like stupid comments like that. But this comment, it's not stupid. It's not stupid at all. Like at all. This comment wasn't stupid at all. But it was a comment I had to address. And that was, why don't you join the military? Oh shit, I already showed it. I already gave it away. I already did. That makes perfect sense though for you guys to ask. And there's always like a military buff who's like, oh, blah blah blah. I know the Navy. My dad's in the Navy. My uncle's in the Navy. They don't use that uniform no more, bitch. I got the new one too. I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy right out of high school. I won't talk about this because it's it needs to be talked about. So I always talk about ways you can make money, free rent, free food, all that, how to get out of a bad situation. But something I value more than money, more than traveling, is my goddamn freedom. And this is no disrespect to anyone in the military. Again, I've been in the military. I have complete respect for everyone who's been in the military, currently in the military. They're still my brothers and sisters. I feel that way. I honestly do. But god damn, like the military is not the option for everybody. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to start from the beginning. This is just going to be one of those videos where I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to rant and then I'm going to post it up. Let's start from the beginning though. So right out of high school, I'm 18. My best friend at the time, he's 19, I think. He's like 1 year older than me, a little bit older than me. And we're sitting at home. At the time, I was in a motel with my mom. And we were not doing good. It was definitely a poor man's motel where like every week you had to pay $200 just to stay in there. And it had it was a crappy 2-bed living room, hot top burners, TV, like nailed to the fucking wall, and one bathroom. It was not a good place. It was not good at all. My best friend, he wasn't rich by any means, but he wasn't poor. He was middle class. This was like in 2018, 2017. So it was before COVID. It was like a lot better to find, like the economics was good. Everything was going good. So I was really, really poor. He was doing okay. But the thing was, because he was like that, because he had all that stuff, he was stressing out. He was thinking to himself, God, I'm such a loser. I'm just staying at home all day playing video games. I'm just staying at home all day watching Twitch, doing all this, blah, blah. And I vividly remember making a comment. Like we were talking about something, and then he brought up, yeah, I just watched it on Twitch. And I said, you watch Twitch for 12 hours? Wow, someone needs to get a life. And that broke him. Cause I could hear it in his voice. I heard, man, I'll talk to you later. And I sent him a text saying, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. I was just joking around. And it was cool between us. But the next thing I knew, he just called me up and was like, yo, I'm joining the military. I want you to join with me. And I'm just like, he called me literally while I was playing my Xbox. And I thought about it, and I just didn't care. Like, I was 19, I was 18, 19. I just did not care about my life. I didn't care what I was going to do next. I didn't care where I was now. I was just blank. But something I wanted to do was travel, and that's something the military promised me. They promised me I could see the world. And that's a goddamn lie. The thing, so, break from the story. The thing about the military, is it possible to see the world? Yes. Are you going to see the world? Probably not. It's definitely like a lottery system. If you speak like a different language, and I'm not talking about Spanish, I'm talking about if you speak Japanese before you go in, if you speak Arabic before you go in, you can probably go to those places just because the number one reaction when you tell someone, hey, you gotta learn a language, is I don't have time for that, even though they're on fucking TikTok all day, even though they're bullshitting all day. So that's the only way I could see anyone traveling, unless you're lucky. Which I had friends who are lucky. I had a girl. There was a girl who was a friend of mine. She went to Japan. She didn't give a fuck about Japan. She wanted to go to Spain, and all of her friends around her, they were like, "Fuck you! I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Spain." Let's change orders, you know. But the promise of traveling, just because you join the military, it's not guaranteed. That's just something they tell you to get you in. But anyways, going back to the story, I thought I could travel, so I thought, okay, I'll join. I go to MEPS, I do the PT shit, I do all the training, all this stuff, and I get in. I took the test. It wasn't the highest test. It wasn't the highest score. It wasn't the lowest score. But I get in, and my recruiter, he straight up told me, like, I didn't do any research going into the military. I was just like, I'm bored. I got nothing going on. I don't have a job. I don't have anything to do. So I'm just going to join. And my recruiter told me, well, we don't have any spots left for active duty, so I'm going to put you in reserves. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, I'm going to post this video. Someone random I met too. He told me, I told a crowd of people, yeah, I'm going to do reserves. Then I'm going to come back. I'm just going to like use that check mark, on the application saying I was in the military to get really, really good jobs. He came up to me after all of that and he told me, he looked me dead in the eyes and told me, listen to me. Do not fucking go to reserves. Do not go to reserves. It's not what you think. Do not do it. And I just did not listen to him. I did not take his advice. There's going to be people who will watch this. They're not going to take my advice because they think I'm capping. They think they know better than me. But I regret that so much. I regret not taking his advice. But he didn't tell me one thing. He did not tell me one thing that I'm going to tell you. I did not take his advice, and it screwed me over completely. I tried doing some stuff. We'll get to that later. But it screwed me over completely because I didn't take his advice. And that advice was never do reserves. If this is what he didn't tell me. If your recruiter tries to get you to do reserves, say okay, right? Say okay. Don't say shit, except okay. Just say yes. Just do what he tells you to do. Do not sign anything. Do not do any paperwork at all. Just say yes and go to a different goddamn recruiting place and tell them, yeah, this guy over there wanted me to do reserves. I'm not doing reserves. So I'm coming to you. And they will put you in active duty. Never do reserves. I don't care the branch. I don't care what the reason is. Just don't do it. Unless you got like a fucking 6-figure job already and you're already retired, just do not do reserves. It's not worth it. But anyways, I get in. I go into the military. I'm going to talk about boot camp a bit too. I go in. I get accepted. I go to the hotel. Because there's like a fucking hotel you go to, the night before to make sure you don't do any drugs or nothing. And you have fun. When you're in MEPS, you meet like some people. Because you're stuck in there all day. You meet people. You bond. You think, oh shit, I just met my soulmate. Like right here. I just met the girl of my dreams. Those are the people you want to meet in MEPS as you're getting your physical done. And you're never going to see them again after that night. You're going to see them, and then you're never going to see them again. So do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Just don't get in trouble. Just don't get caught. And we had the ball that night. We had the ball. We played cards. We drank. We did everything. I was 19. We fucking drank. That's how it was fun. And, we did our things. I never saw those people again. We got their numbers. We exchanged numbers and everything. Not a single person reached out to anybody. Whatever. I go to the military. I get on my flight and I get to boot camp. First thing they do, they sit us all down. And the first thing they do to break you in is they keep you up all night. And that's the stupidest shit. They keep you up all night to make sure everyone is on the same sleep schedule. So you stay up all night. You just sit on the floor, crisscross applesauce. That's all you do. 24 hours. They yell at you to make sure you're still awake, and you're just sitting there. You're thinking, what the fuck is the point of this? And there is no goddamn point. There's no goddamn point. There are people who said, yo, I gotta use the bathroom. They just went on the fucking toilet and they took 2-hour naps. And I was too scared to do it. But those were the smart people. Just go into the bathroom and take 2-hour long naps. Thinking back, it's fun to think about, but I would never do it again. They would take 2-hour naps in the bathroom. Then once, the night passes, once it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, then you get your stuff, you get your uniforms, you get all your stuff, then you march, blah, blah, blah. You go to your dorms, and you start to meet the people you're going to be in boot camp with. All the boot camp. And I'm telling you the story to prove that I've been in the military, by the way. But it's still good to know this information if you're going in. But once you get all your uniform and all your gear, that's when you start to meet everyone you're going to be in boot camp with. You're having a good time. You have a slightly good time. You're not it's not like meth where you can party. No, it's not like that at all. You're just enjoying the night. Getting used to your new home. And I'm cooking rice. Give me 1 second. My bad. Anyways, you're having a good time. Again, the people you're going to be with for the next few months. First impressions are always terrible. So, never trust anybody, especially in boot camp. Never trust anybody in boot camp because people change. People change like a motherfucker in boot camp. You're having a good time, then you go to sleep. Then the next morning, you're sitting down again, crisscross applesauce like you're a fucking 2-year-old, and I hated it, but whatever. It's the military. I knew what I was getting into. Sitting down, crisscross applesauce in a line in a square pattern, and then 3 people in uniform come in. You got your petty officer. This is the Navy terms. You got 2 petty officers and you got 1 chief. They come in marching. They do their creed to the recruits. And it's a beautiful creed. I don't fucking remember it. I don't give a fuck about it. But it's a beautiful creed. They say it. They fucking get out of your seat. Go, go, go. All that shit. And they expect you to run to whatever bunk you want to be at. And then that's the bunk you're going to be at. You're yelling at you. So you can't, I can't remember if you pick at random or they assign seats, but they're yelling at you to see what you would do in signs of stress. And then they analyze you by telling you to make your bed and do all this shit and blah, 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 blah. None of it matters, right? Everything is just it's the first fucking day. None of it fucking matters. And they're going to break you down in boot camp. There's going to be with the chiefs just the chiefs are normally, I just want this shit to get done. Then they're going to have 2 petty officers. One of the petty officers is going to be the good guy. The other one's going to be the asshole. I fucking all the memories of my boot camp is about the fucking asshole. Because there's something called ship staff in Navy boot camp, where you have to act like you're on a ship, just presenting yourself because it's still a military base. They still need those people. I was doing that. And something we trained at our ship, the new ship staff people, is we were the asshole recruit. We were the asshole petty officers. We acted like that. And it was fucking fun doing it. Something my petty officer did to us when I was in boot camp was when he was making us do, when he was beating us, when he was making us do the exercises, and we were on we were doing push-ups. He would get down, and he would go, "You're not going to make it, no." And at the time, we were real fucking pissed, but it was fucking funny. Looking back, it was fucking funny. And all the shit happens in boot camp. You're going to make memories. You're going to make you're going to fucking hate it when you're in there. You're not going to miss it, but you're going to have memories that make a last time. Boot camp is what really brings all military personnel. Everyone makes fun of the Army, the Air Force, Navy, Marines. Everyone always makes fun of them. But at the end of the day, we still have a brotherhood. And there are going to be those elite assholes who think they're better than you because they're in a different branch. But in my experience, those people are rare. But as you get done with the military, you go into something called, you go into you go into A school. And what A school is kind of like college or trade school, depending on what your job is. And each branch calls it something different. In the Navy, they call it a rate. My rate was an HT, the whole tech. They told me it is welding, which it was, technically. But in actuality, it was plumbing, which I still could use in the outside world, but I just didn't want to. But anyways, once you get to A school, once you get to the college, once you get to this trade school, they're going to teach you how to do it. This is when you get your real military training. Boot camp is just to weed out the weak people. Boot camp is just to weed out the people who refuse to work as a team. Boot camp is what gives you the brotherhood, what gives you that trust in your other military members. And a mistake I made going into boot camp. When I joined the military, I was expecting everyone to be serious. I was expecting everyone to be, mature. No. Just no. The military is ran by 19-year-olds, guys. The military is not nearly as professional as anyone thinks. Some people might think, oh yeah, fucking obviously, it's the military, it's government, it sucks. You have no idea. You have no goddamn idea. Even, there's just so much bullshit even the higher ups have to deal with that they can't get around because that's just how the way it is. But going back to the story, when I was in A school, things were, where should I start with this? Where should I start with this? All right, so let me think about this. Right after boot camp, you have your big ceremony, you have your big thing, you do marching and you do all the stuff for your family. You immediately go to your school after that. And then you immediately leave after that. Some people have a day to spend with their family. Some people have only an hour, and you have to find them at that time. But I only had about 3 hours, and I went to my A school in Great Lakes, and I was on a bus with only, I think, 2 or 3 of my boot camp squad. And I vividly remember, I remember 3 girls. I remember 3 girls walking back to their barracks. One of them was on the phone. One of them did not give a fuck. She was on her phone. One of them was doing this with her titties. And one of them was And that explains all of A school in a perfect T. Because when you're in A school, the first thing you already fucking know. You're away from women, you're away from men, even the fucking women were fucking horny as shit. You're away from men, you're away from women for 3 to 6, like however long you're in boot camp for, I forgot. The first thing you're going to do when you get out is you're going to fuck. And they were, and the first thing that you do after you get off that bus, there's a guy and a girl, there's a male and a female. In this video, I'm probably going to say male. I don't know why people get offended when I say female, but that's just a military term. So like right after you get off that bus, there's a male and a female, for obvious reasons, of course, and they take you to do your room and whatever. Those two people, the male and the female, they choose who the fuck they're gonna fuck, like right there. It doesn't matter how ugly you are, it doesn't matter how cute you are, it doesn't matter how socially awkward you are. You're just gonna be like, you, me, my room at 6, let's go. And that's what's gonna happen, because you're just that fucking horny. And again, in the military, it's not kind to marry people. It's not kind for relationships. The military is 100% a relationship killer. Like that is no secret. So just if you're going into the military, I highly recommend just not getting married until you're out. And they tell you that too. The military tells you that too. But it's kind of fucking hard to when they wave a fucking fat paycheck in your face for getting married. And another funny thing the military does too, because they know we're fucking horny after boot camp, they have condoms in the bathroom. And this is a true fucking story. Everything I'm saying is fucking true. Like, everything I'm saying is fucking true. My first week there, I walked into the bathroom and I noticed there was like a fishbowl, like a literal fishbowl full to the brim of condoms. Because the military understands there's no fucking way we're going to get like 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who just got done working out for 6 fucking months, who look like fucking Greek gods, to not fuck like rabbits. So instead of like trying to get us not to have sex with each other, they just say, just wear a goddamn condom, just don't spread STDs, and we'll look the other way. I just got out of the bathroom, just taking a piss, washing my fucking hands. This dude runs the fuck in, grabs the fishbowl full of condoms, picks it up, about to walk out the door, and he looks at me and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you want one?" It's like, the fuck are you going to do with a fistful of condoms? It was like, this is just shit you can't make up, dude. It's just a shit you can't make up. And there's another incident too. There's like so many sexual incidences. I told my friend this. He did not believe me, but one of the bigger incidents is like a chief's daughter or an officer's daughter got into relationships with a lot of guys and ended up having like a gangbang on her. And no one outside of Illinois believed it. Maybe it was fake, maybe it was real. I believe it was real because there's just like so much sexual shit. There was a building that constantly got in trouble because they kept having sex in the wrong places. Oh man, there's just so much sexual shit. But like literally, I joked around for like a long fucking time. If you're a virgin, join the military because you'll lose that shit immediately. But A school, going back to the actual story. I'm sorry, just memories. Going back to the actual story. A school is where you learn how to do the job you've been appointed. So for me, I was a welder. I learned how to stick weld. I learned how to fix broken pipes and do all this basic shit. It wasn't impressive at all. It was just really, really basic stuff. And After that, then you get shipped out. And again, I was reserves. And I was going to say this too. When I was in MEPS, this is important too. When I was in MEPS, I remember I told the dude I was going into reserves. And he looked at me and he said to me, I was 18. I was 18. I was stupid. I was fucking stupid. Remember that. He looked at me and said, "Do you want to go active duty?" And what I wish I said was yes. Actually, I take that back. I'm happy I said no. But at the time I wanted to say yes, but I said no because I was so scared because I was told by my chief. Again, I was 18. I was stupid. I didn't know shit. I had to do reserves. If anyone tells you that, again, don't just say okay and then go somewhere else. Just say okay and go somewhere else. Say it with me. Just say okay, then go somewhere else. Because they don't know. Just no. Just no. But I got done with. I got done. I was reserves. I went back home to Texas, and I remember asking my recruiter, "Hey, can I use the reserves as a full-time job because I don't have a job, I don't have a house, I don't have any of that." And he looked at me in my face, knowing I was poor, knowing I didn't have any of that stuff, and he said, "Yeah." So there I was stranded in Texas, and and now once a month I had to go to a military base to do absolutely nothing. My friend though, who was also at HT, I love this dude. Like I said, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble in case I get in trouble. But I love this dude. He went active duty, and he didn't have a better time either. Like we were both getting paid $600 every 2 weeks. Like people always say all the goddamn time the military is so underpaid, and you get a pay increase as you rank up. It's not much better, from what I found out. Unless you get like to chief, it's not much better. And yeah, you get free housing and free food, but for the amount of work you're doing and what you're doing, it's just not worth it. And that's why you have like so many people in the military who just don't fuck up. Like who just don't give a fuck. Because we noticed there's two types of people who come out the military, and there's like the guy who's chill as fuck, and there's the guy who's serious as fuck. The guy who's serious as fuck probably been in there for a long time. The guy who's chill as fuck just does not give a fuck anymore because he knows that the military is a joke, and he just gives up on the world. That's what the military does to you. But you guys already know not to do reserves. I hope you guys know that. I hope you take that advice if anything else. But let me talk to you about active duty. My friend, let's see, which one should I talk about? I have Facebook friends, I should say, across the world. I still talk to this dude, my HC friend, but I have Facebook friends across the world in case you need a place to stay. But my HT friend who went active duty, he didn't leave America at all. He got stationed on land, and he just got treated like shit. And apparently that happens to everybody except for like a few top special dogs. So going with ship-wise, you got two types of people. You got like the bottom side of the ship, and then you got the top side of the ship. Bottom side of the ship always gets treated like shit, from what I hear from him. Top side of the ship gets treated like shit from other branches. And there is no branch, besides from Marines, and like the hardcore people, but even they're like dog shit. everyone gets treated by shit by every military branch because no one is on the same page. Everyone's like always trying to get paperwork done, and there's always something you need from another branch, and like something. This is what I'm told. I've never actually been in it. This is what I'm told from my military friends, and this does not get easier. In fact, it's more frustrating. This is what I'm like. I kind of don't want to get into this territory because I didn't go through it personally. That's what I'm told. But the one thing I did know is he never went off. He never was paid more than his civilian job, and he did his full 4 years. He never was paid more than his civilian job. He never went anywhere, and the whole time he was like super restricted on what he could do. He couldn't even go leave the goddamn city if he wanted to without putting in a goddamn request. I do believe, like, for some people, yeah, the military's a goddamn dream come true, but the only reason you should join the military is if you're fully prepared to make that your full career. If you're not prepared to make the military your full career, I don't recommend going in because you're just wasting your time. Like, I'm happy I did it because I know what it is now, and I know it's not for me, and I'm happy I did reserves because I could get out easier. I was able to get out, do the medical, so I didn't finish my full term. I just did 3 years instead of 4, but I was able to get out, do the medical, and honestly, even if I was like, even Navy SEALs, even Marines, I don't think I'll do it because it's not worth it at this point. Like, right, even if I'm goddamn homeless right now, like and I was thinking about doing this too. I was thinking about just camping and going homeless, seeing how much money I can make getting the job. I was thinking about doing that. That's more freedom. Because remember, I lived out my car. I made a whole video about how to be homeless. I made a whole video about that. Like, just doing that is more freedom than joining the military. And I wanted to talk about this too. You know what happens to most of the people, even active duty? You know what happens to most of them, like where they work when they get out of the military? Doing the exact same goddamn thing I'm doing. Most military personnel start working in kitchens. Most military personnel starts working $15 an hour jobs because we didn't go to college. And there are people like in the military too who will tell you, oh, you think your GI Bill is going to pay for your schooling? No, it's not. Like, it pays a little bit. It's not going to pay for all of it. Unless you're a goddamn G and you're like doing military while you're in the military. That's about the only way. This is just my experience too, by the way. This is not a fact. It could change because this all could have changed. This is just why I'm not going back to the military, because I already been through it. I already know what's going to happen, and I just don't want to go through it again. If anyone has like a different experience, go ahead, correct me. Like, I'm not going to be insulted. I'm not going to be mad. Hell, I'll even set up a call with you if you send me a message on Instagram and you want to talk about it. But for me personally, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't worth it.